Today we're going over area of parallelograms. So that's our content objectives, is to be able to find the area of a parallelogram and then use given information to find the area as well. The language objectives is to be able to explain how to find the area using the sentence stem. The formula for finding the area of a parallelogram is blank, the base is blank, and the height is blank, so the area is blank. So before we do the area formula here, or go over that, why don't I give you a couple of vocabulary terms, and these are terms that we've seen a lot of, and these terms we're going to continue to see them throughout our area unit, is base and height. So the first one, the base of a parallelogram is either pair of parallel sides of a parallelogram. So in a parallelogram, looks something like what I'm drawing here. Draw a little bit better. So it looks something like this. And in this parallelogram, the opposite sides are parallel. So it means, so for example, this side, and we use this little arrow to indicate parallel. So it means that these two sides that I just put that blue arrow through, it means that those two sides are parallel, which means they're never ever going to cross. So in a parallelogram, your opposite sides are parallel, and that means they're never going to cross. And then, so similarly, this side in purple, and I'm going to use 2 on this one, just because this is a different side than the blues. So these opposite sides, so this purple side is opposite of that purple side, they're opposite, so they are both parallel. So opposite sides in parallelograms are parallel. The height of a parallelogram is the shortest distance between the bases of a parallelogram, and the height is always perpendicular to the base. So when we say the shorter distance, we're going to start at one of the corners here. So we're going to go, for example, if this is a base, then this is a base up here as well, because they're parallel. They're going to have the same, they're never going to cross. So these are your bases, and the height is always perpendicular to the base. So we're going to make a height from here to here. This would be your height. So that's sort of what a parallelogram looks like. And there's 2 cases for the height, and I show you those below here. The first case, as in my drawing there up at the right side there, the height could be inside the parallelogram. When the height is inside the parallelogram, it looks like this one. So this is the sort of case number 1. The height could be inside the parallelogram. Or case number 2, the height could be outside the parallelogram. Just like when we had with triangles, the height could be inside or outside the triangle. So just note, when it's outside, you have to extend the base, but it doesn't change the length of the base. So the area formula for a parallelogram. So the area of a parallelogram is base times height. Notice this is the same exact formula that we had for squares and rectangles. So we can, shorthand notation is A equals B times H. And always remember, you need your units squared. So this is the area of a parallelogram. This is the formula for finding the area of a parallelogram. It's the base times the height. So let's look at an example. So example number 1, find the area. Sorry, let me get this. There we go. So find the area of the parallelogram given the base and the height. So in this parallelogram, we'll start off with the area formula. Area equals base times height. So in this parallelogram, so here's my parallelogram. I'm highlighting it in blue. So this side is parallel to that side. So my base is 9. So this is my base. And remember, my height is, in this case, it's outside the parallelogram. And so my height is 6. So this is my height. So when I plug those into my area formula, I get area equals 9 times 6. So the area of this parallelogram is 54 meters squared. So that is the area of that parallelogram. So next example, find the base or the height given that you know the area. So in this example, you know you are given the area. So I have the area is 78 feet squared, and I know that one of the bases is 12. So remember, this is my parallelogram. I'll highlight it in purple. So this side is parallel to that side. And then my height this time is on the inside of the parallelogram. So this is my h, and I don't know what that is. So I'm going to write down my formula. Area equals base times height. And I'm going to plug in. I know what A is. A is 78. The base I know is 12. And then the h is what I don't know. So we're going to solve this equation for h. So the way to solve this for h is to, since this says 12 times h, I'm going to divide both sides by 12. Whoops. Divide both sides by 12. And this is 78 divided by 12 is 6.5. And I think we were dealing with feet here. So this is 6.5 feet equals h. So the height of my parallelogram, it should be 6.5 feet. So here's a couple more practice problems. I'll do the first one, and then I'll let you try the next two. So in number 1, so in this parallelogram, I'm going to outline where the parallelogram is at. It's right here. So the parallelogram is in red. So I'm going to start off with the area formula. Area equals base times height. And now the base, so the base is going to be 8. So this side, because this side is parallel to that side, they're across from each other. So that's how I know my base is 8. And my height is on the inside. My height, I'll show in green, is this part right here. So here's my height, and it's perpendicular to the base. So this time it's inside. So my height is 12. So I'm going to plug that into my formula here. So the area is 8 times which is 96 yards squared. So I want you to try numbers 2 and 3. So it would be very similar to how I did number 1. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So it would be very similar to how I did number 1. So hopefully you had a second to pause the video. I'm going to go on to the next examples. So this, so you're going to use the area to find missing information. So in number 4, I have area equals 72 inches squared. And I'm given a figure down there. So I'll do number 4, and then you can do 5 and 6. So I'm going to start off with my area formula. Area equals base times height. And then I'm just going to see, what do I know? So I'm given the area first, because it says A equals. So that means that's my A. So I'm going to plug in 72 for the A. And then the base, so if you just look at the figure, they tell you that we don't know the height, but we do know the base is 12. So this is one of the sides of the parallelogram, which I'm outlining in green. So my base is 12, and my height is the blue piece. My height is h. It's unknown, so we have to solve for h. So my area is 72 equals 12 times h. So we're going to solve this for h. So notice I have 12 times h on the right. So if I'm going to solve that for h, I'm going to divide both sides by, whoops, 12. So what happens when you do that is division undoes multiplication. So those 12s cancel, and I get 72 divided by 12, which is 6. So 6 inches is the height. So the height for this one is 6 inches. So I want you to try 5 and 6. Again, they will be very similar to number 4. So pause the video and give number 5 and 6 a try. Hopefully you paused the video and gave those 2 problems an attempt. I did post some problems for you to try. They are listed here as well as in Google Classroom. So those are posted for you. You can give them a try. We will go over them in our live meet. If you have questions, please feel free to send me a message through Google Classroom, Remind, or email.